Welcome to Against Given Odds. My name is Mad Dog Madison. At least that's what I like to call myself. This is a place where you ain't got to be first, but you got to strive to be your best. I'm building a community for the everyday working folks. And yes, that includes entrepreneurs because this is a place where growth is important. Some of the things we'll be speaking about is mindset, health, wealth, lifestyle, all of those type things. Because this is the place where I want to see you be your best. Man, I got a very special guest here today, man. What's good?
What's up, Madison? How you doing?
And I'm doing good. Would you mind introducing yourself a little bit to everybody?
My name's Tim, and I'm from Naples, Florida. I just want to say thank you for having me on here today.
Of course, Tim. I definitely appreciate you for jumping on, man. Man, it's so many questions that people have about so many different things. So, first off, let's get right to it. Have you ever had a traumatic past or something, a difficult time in your life that you faced, and you feel like you wanted to get to a different point in your life?
My whole life, actually, from
Your
childhood
whole
until
life.
I was 30 years old.
Well, what part of it do you mind sharing with us?
I share everything with you. I'm an open book today. You know what
Then
I
let's
mean?
get it
Because
then, man.
what I realized is that my darkness places in life brought me the light that I have today. I can go back at early age of 4 years old. I was in a dysfunctional family. My mother is a alcoholic and addict. God bless her soul today. And my father, I never knew my father, but I do have three sisters, two that are younger than me and one that's older. That's an active addiction right now, and all I can do is just pray for her, right? But ever since I was a kid, I always felt different. You know what I mean? Because I was a poor kid on the block. It was just hard wearing the same clothes, the same shoes, recycling, getting passed downs, And it's crazy that the best friends I had in my house were cockroaches and rats, right? And I was in and out of foster homes. My grandmother ended up taking us all at an early age, and my mother got us back. But my darkest place in life was when I witnessed my first murder at 10 years old. And a dude got killed with a 2x4 and he died in my arms. And that bothered me. That changed me. That turned me into a different. That made me not believe in God and stuff like that. And it was difficult, And I started running the streets. I was in and out of jail at an early age. My first arrest was at 6 years old. I got put on probation, and then I just ran with that for the longest. I went to a 6-month program, but I'm an overachiever. I turned that 6 months to 18 months, and then I finally got out, and I found my mother dead with a needle in her arm. I'm not going to tell you that I was sad and I cried because I didn't, but I can tell you that it haunted me until 30 years old. I blamed myself for so many years, but in reality, there was nothing I could do, right? I did end up in prison at 16. I did do a lot of time. Prison made me see a different lifestyle. I've done a lot of stuff behind those walls that I wouldn't say that I regret, but I am ashamed of. But I could tell you that it built me and made me into the person I am today. But when I did get out of prison, I entered a different lifestyle, and that was drugs, where I got introduced to. I did get introduced to them in prison, but it didn't turn into a habit until I got out. I say all the time, I love smoking crack, shooting dope, and drinking whiskey, and I love fast women, right? And that's what I thought life was about because that's all I knew since I was a kid. My mother was on it, I seen it, I lived it, so I thought that was normal to me. And I was homeless for years. I robbed gas stations, I robbed grocery stores, I robbed Home Depots just to get what I needed. And I don't know what it was that made me want to change. And it was almost 5 years ago. It was September 25th of 2018 when I finally surrendered and said, I can't live this way no more. I tried to commit suicide, but I failed at that. I just didn't want to live no more. And something had a different path for me. And today I can tell you that it is God. And it's just amazing what my darkness places in life brought to me today.
Yeah, you definitely have a story, man, and bigger than the story, story turns in and when you tell somebody it, but you have lived a journey, which that was the biggest part, man. And congratulations on getting to a different point of your life, man. We definitely appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing with us your experience and your journey that it's been through life. And let's go back to when you said someone died in your arms. when that happened, did you ever get the opportunity to seek any help or anything, or was that even possible back then? Was it even something that was even considered?
They tried to get me to go see a doctor, but the doctor just wanted to prescribe me medication, and they were trying to put me on Ritalin and all that stuff, and I was like, screw this shit, and I didn't. Sorry for my profanity. I will watch that.
You good. It's that vulnerable, man. It's that vulnerability that you have to get. I definitely understand, man. It's getting to that place where you have to remember those things. And it's like no matter what they want to do to us, and I definitely know what you mean when they say when doctors and people want to put you on medication because they think that is the quick fix. And I
Yeah.
got nothing against doctors. I got nothing against them because there's certain things that they help well with, but it's certain things that I do not like the approach of what they do, and that's certain doctors. So I can't just say as a whole, all doctors. That's like saying all people are like this one person. But
Yeah.
I don't like that a group of doctors that thinks everything needs to be handled through medication. And there's some things that do need to be handled through medication, but it takes also therapy and it takes all type of different stuff. But for being in that point in your life where you're like, "Okay, I'm hurting," that's traumatic as heck, man, to be able to see somebody die in your arm, not even just seeing it, you feeling this, man. I can imagine how that just stays in your mind, man, because I've had times in my life that I've been through times like that where I've seen all type of different things growing up. And the thing is, what I don't like about people, some people, they're not that vulnerable as you that will actually tell somebody about that experience because they want everybody to believe that then when they was growing up, it was a perfect childhood. And if it wasn't a perfect childhood, it was all right. I hear a lot of people say it was decent at home, and I went through some of these type different things in my life, but my parents, they did the best. I bet you they did, and I'm pretty sure good parents should do it. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're in a different time in life where we actually get the opportunity to have a different perspective in life of how things were when we was growing up.
And what I'm sorry to cut you off. What I don't understand is that people nowadays are scared to talk about that, and it's for what? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that yes, my childhood was not great. I've been through a lot. I've been sexually assaulted when I was a child. That had me questioning a lot of stuff as my adulthood. As I grew up older and started getting more mature, it had me question a lot of things, and making me look back. But it looks like this is that if I hold that stuff in and if I don't express that stuff to somebody, how can I help somebody else today? You know what I mean? Because them chapters have to be reopened to let someone else know that you're not alone. You know what I mean? And for so many years, I felt alone. I felt trapped in my own mind. And still to this day, I still got demons, and I tell people all the time, I got two things that live inside me: a wolf and a good person. And it's all depends on which one I wanted to feed. I can feed that devil daily, but then I'm going to get the devil consequences, and I'm going to end back up in jail. I'm going to end back up in institutions. I'm going to end back up maybe seeing death again because I experienced that. I was dead for 3 minutes and 32 seconds, and I don't even know how I'm alive right now. But what I can tell you is that me talking about this betters me daily on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I'm just telling you, it's that vulnerability, man. I love that about you, man. You came in with straight vulnerability, and people act like they stuff don't stink if y'all get what I'm saying. But I'm telling you, man, that's what I love the most, man. That's the type people I love bringing onto my podcast. It's not to embarrass anybody. It's not to make somebody reminisce in their past or where they feel bad. It's where they have a voice, where they feel like they're important. And it's not just them being important, but the message that they have that they lived through, they actually took that and they was able to share it with other people because there's other people going through this right now. There's other people that's trying to get past this point. And in education, I hear so many different educational things. I've been in this entrepreneur thing for a long time now, man. I've spent a lot of money, I have a lot of experience. I've done all type of things. And let me tell you, you hear all these different people say, "Oh, this is how you do this to be successful in this. How you do this to be." How do you be successful in here? How do you get to that point in there? How do you get to another level in there when people ain't willing to be vulnerable? When people ain't willing to share what they really went through. And then some of these fake people, these fake gurus out here saying, oh, I've been through this and I've gone through this. Nah, forget that. Nah. You trying to take shine, what you call it a shine, because the people that's going through it, like me and man, you and other people, we don't think it's a gold star. We don't mind sharing it, but at the end of the day, it's not like money, because the other people want to use our type stories for money so they can relate with other people. And my whole point is, I don't like the way when people do that. And then some people like me and you, we go buy these products from them because they figured out a way to master sell us. They figured out a way to tell our story in a way that's supposed to be sophisticated and fancy enough to get in our mind, to mess with our psyche, to go buy something from them and continue buying something, and to sell us this false hope. And whether people know it or not only in entrepreneurship, there's certain lanes that does that, but also in your 9 to 5, same thing. Same thing. They're messing with your psyche because basically what they're telling you is you can go work this 9 to 5. You make us all the money in the world. We rather go promote from the outside instead of promote from the inside. You can work in a certain job 10, 15 years. Know your job like the back of your hand. Have no problems or anything, and they go hire from the outside because they can go find somebody cheaper than you. And they show you how valuable you are. And I know we have all heard about the saying or the little quote that if you die today, they have somebody else taking your job by the end of the day or tomorrow morning. And that is absolutely true. You are replaceable at every single job. And that is another reason why I say go out and test out entrepreneurship. I'm not going to tell you go and quit your 9 to 5 for entrepreneurship. You're going to quit just to go to nothing. And that's what people mistake, because they think that you're just gonna quit just to go just for nothing. That's where you make a mistake at. That's where you become broke. That's when you become vulnerable, because you're going after every single thing that comes because you got to replace the income that you just left.
And I can only talk with my experience and what I know. What the biggest thing that was stopping me in life was fear. And that's where a lot of people don't like to talk about either, is fear. You know what I mean? And the fear comes in all many aspects of life. You know what I mean? And I fear that I wouldn't be able to amount to anything. I was fear of not being good enough because I have this thing in my head that tells me otherwise. You know what I
So
mean?
how
And
did
I
you get out of that fear? What started to transition out of that fear?
trust in God. And
Trusting
that's
God,
another
man.
thing people are scared of to talk about too today is God. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I said in the beginning, I hated God. I used to burn Bible paper in prison. God forgive me for my sins. You know what I mean? But today, God is the big majority of my life. And I don't know if you noticed before you even started this. I had my eyes closed and my head down. I was praying. God, lead me. Let me share what needs to be said. Let you speak through me. Because at the end of the day, that I'm nobody without Him, and I had to take
Mhm.
that leap of faith with Him. You know what I mean? And I prayed about it for weeks and months and years of what am I supposed to do today? You know what I mean? Where is my life going to lead to? You know what I mean? And sometimes be careful what you ask for, because God will give you what you ask for. And are you going to be able to overcome that obstacle and handle that? And it's a progress. You know what I mean? It's not perfect. You know what I mean? Nothing is perfect in life, and I struggle daily. But one thing I know is not giving up, and I took
Man,
that leap of faith.
that is it right there. You just hit it right on the head, man. Nail right on the head. If people didn't just hear what he just said, it's not being perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to fail. You may spend years failing. You may spend years hurting. And ultimately, like I said, I'm not going to push anything on y'all. But let me tell you, faith is a big deal. And faith in the right person is a big deal. And if you go out and have your faith in something else, I can't judge you from it, but I'm not going to condone it either. That's just me personally. But at the same time, I'm telling you, you have to have faith in something. If you have faith in nothing, you will never believe in nothing. You'll never be nothing.
And I don't know
And
if you ever heard this. Religious people are scared to go to hell. Spiritual people is already people that lived it and don't want to go back.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. Tell my wife all the time. I don't believe that people that are successful and people that are not going through pain, those are the people that really don't believe in God that much. Those are the people that think that they're in control and believe in all the science stuff because they haven't gone through these type things yet. And it's a big point on that yet because you can be good on this earth, but one day you're going to have to meet your maker. And either you live here and you die there, or you slowly just evolve here and you live there. That's your only choices, but you can't have them both. You can't absolutely just live here and think you're gonna and when I say live, that means live it up, going out partying, drinking, smoking, doing everything that you wanna do, and then think when the time is up and you don't wanna believe in God, and then the time is up, you're just gonna, "Hey, it is what it is." It's just not gonna go that way. So from you getting to that point in your life, what made you actually believe that God is even important in your life, or will you stop blaming him?
I can't tell you. I really, and that's a question that's hard to answer. I don't know. I really don't know. I just remember sitting behind a truck and I just started crying. And I said, I can't live this way no more. And that was the first time in my life where I got honest with somebody else. So, me to
Yeah.
sit here and answer that question, I'd be lying to you. I can't tell you. I really don't know.
Man, I love you, man. It's something about you, man, because it's like everybody have their own personal stories. But the first time I've heard somebody just actually sit here and say, "Man, I don't even know. I don't know." And I can relate to that because it's that times that when we doing whatever we're doing, gotta hit us like that. And we never know about it. We never know what really transition. We may wake up and be like, "Man, I need to go read the Bible. Man, I need to go pray. Man, I need to do better." And you start to feel different, and God work in mysterious ways. They say that, don't
Yeah, he does.
they? He work in mysterious ways, and right when you think you may have plans to go live it up tomorrow, but tonight He already changed the ways.
And they
And
say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right?
yeah,
And I never understood that until the teacher started appearing in different aspects in life and different obstacles that I started going through. And that's with me being on this journey of spiritual growth and recovery, whatever it is I choose to go to, the teacher appears in different places, because there's points where I tell you right now, there's days where I want to give up. There's days where I get in my car and I say, fuck all this. It'd be easier for me just to turn right here and end it all. And then I meet somebody on this path and they got the answers for the questions that I've been asking. And I get back in my car and I'm like, where did this just come from? Because the hardest thing for a person to admit is that I don't know. Because we got so much pride and ego. And for me to tell you that I don't know makes me feel less than. So a lot of people are scared to admit that they don't know something. And that could be
absolutely.
anything. You know what I mean? But for me to admit on a daily basis when I wake up is, hey, I don't know what God has store or what I have in store today. And once I level that and say, you know what, I'm not saying put all your faith into God, because faith without works is dead, right? If I sit here and tell you, hey, listen, I pray to God, I pray to God, I pray to God, but I don't take action, I'm not gonna get what I want in return. I gotta give it over to him, but at the same time, I gotta put in the work to take action to achieve what I want to achieve in life. And
Yes,
people don't understand that.
yes, people do not understand that. But let me tell you, I add this one thing that I always say, and it have taken me far. And people say, "Oh, he's just somebody who just speaks about it and want it." No, I don't need no glory because it's no glory to me. It's all glory to God. And when it's tough times in my life, or even when it's not tough times, or I need some type of guidance, or I'm trying to get to a certain place in my life, or I feel that I have pain or something like that, I always say I walk by faith and not by sight. Not what I can do, but what you can do. And that's me talking to God. It's not about what I can do. What I do is not important because I'm here for a journey because of God and for God. That's the only reason why I'm here. The kids that I have, the wife that I have, the family that I have, the friends that I have, everything that exists in my life is because God made possible. So why should I go out on my own and think that I know everything when I don't? Because I didn't know who I was going to marry as a young kid. I didn't know I was going to have any kids. I didn't know who my friends was going to be because half of them, most of them, I don't speak to anymore. I have associates. Now, I'm not saying I don't have any friends, but majority of the people that I used to speak to and hang out with, they still on the same stuff that they used to be on. I'm married now. I have kids. I ain't on that. All this gang banging stuff, all this partying stuff, going out with all these girls and all this type stuff. That ain't for me, man. That's for, and I'm not saying that that cannot be for you if that's the path that you want to be on. But for me, that's not my journey. And do I know my end journey? No, but I feel like this is part of it. I feel like allowing people to share their voice to be heard for other people and sharing my voice and being vulnerable and for other people, that's part of my journey. Do I know where it's going to go? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I know how long it's going just going to happen? Absolutely not. But one thing that I do know about doing this is me sharing this. My wife will always get to see what type of person I am. My kids will get to see what type of person I am. The people that's looking from the outside in, they will get to absolutely see what type of person I am because that's not me saying, "Oh, I'm this type person." Hey, dude, this is what type of person I am. You will be able to see it. I don't act any other type way than how I am on this camera. I'm always constantly thinking, how can I help somebody get to the next level in life? Exactly what you did when you got on here. We do not speak. I do not speak to people most of the time before I bring them on here. I do not speak to anybody about what I'm going to ask them about or what I will speak to them about.
No, I never even spoke to you before until today.
Like literally, the only thing I do is I get connected to the right people, or I find the right people that I feel like the right people. I look at maybe some of their content. I look at maybe who they are, or if I have a good friend or something or family and they point me in the right direction or somebody, I trust them enough because they are vouching for this person. And if they're vouching for this person, if I trust them even halfway, I should maybe trust the person that they're suggesting to me. Because what they say, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. So it's one of those type things, man. But I'm just telling you, it's like stop not thinking that you are enough. If I'm wrong, let me know, man. But I believe the story that he's sharing, the story that I'm sharing, the story that everybody else shares that comes on to my podcast, and a lot of other different shows that has nothing to do with my podcast that tries to give people hope and inspiration is be your best. Fail. Just fail. What about it? Oh, I just looked away from my camera. I wasn't looking at my camera. I clapped my hands. If somebody don't watch this, so what? This ain't for them. And that's what it was when I first got on camera. It was like, man, I gotta be perfect. I gotta look at the camera. I gotta look at the lens. I just gotta be still. I can't move. Forget that, man. I gotta be me. I gotta be me. And actually, the person that introduced Justin, shout out to Justin. We did a podcast with him. And it's like Justin who introduced me to you, or vice versa. He told both of us about each other, but like Justin is a good guy. Let me tell you that for sure. Justin, yeah. Charlie, all of them, those are good people, man.
Charlie, man. I know Charlie since I was a kid.
But those are good people, man. And it's like, if y'all don't get it, man, when I brought them on to the interviews, we both were smiling. We all was smiling. We all was doing all this type stuff. And you see how we were smiling then, and I was telling y'all that he's good, that these are good people. Did y'all just see his face when I just spoke about him? Did you see my face when I spoke about him? We both smiled about him. Because normally when you're annoyed by somebody, you don't like somebody, you don't really care about somebody, you're like, oh yeah, Justin, yeah, Charlie. But it wasn't like that, man. Like we showed expression over that, man. These are good people, man. And I'm adding this guy onto my book. I can guarantee you that this is a good guy. Let me tell you this right here, man. This guy is he got on vulnerable, open. He's sharing. What is your journey, man? Let's get to that. Enough of me ranting. What is your journey right now?
Be the best version of me I can be. And what I mean by that is it was January of last year. And I remember I was sitting in a 1 bedroom apartment, and I had 3.5 years without drinking and partying and all that. And I said, God, what's my purpose? Why am I here? I help people daily. I do this and I do that. And but what's the main reason? And this was on a Thursday, and I remember like it was yesterday. And I received a phone call Saturday at 2:30 in the morning, and they said you need to come get your nephew from the psych ward, and it was like a 3-hour drive. And now my fiance, me and her got up and we left, and I went to go pick up my nephew, and I just signed adoption paperwork for him on January 24th of this year. And he just turned 14 years old, and he's been already to 8 group homes or 8 foster homes. And his life reminded me of my life, and I don't want him to go through what I've been through, and I don't want him to experience the pain and have to sacrifice what I had to sacrifice to get where I'm at today. And I don't want him to experience that. So I teach him, and I'm an open book with him. I'm honest with him about everything. I tell him, like last night, I just found out his mother got arrested again, and I told him, because one thing I know is that for so many years, people kept so much from me, and it made me turn on them because they lied to me. And one thing I don't like is someone to lie to me. Just be honest with me. Yeah, the truth is going to hurt, but the truth is also going to set me free. And I tell him that, and I teach him that, and I'm telling him you could be anything you want to be, but then in the back of my mind I'm being a hypocrite because I'm held by fear. I'm handcuffed with fear. So I'm telling him this, but I'm not doing the same, right? So November of this 2022 was when I finally took everything I own in my banking account, and I went and I started my own business. And that's this right here is All Star Pressure Washing in Naples. And I got contacted. I've been contacted with Justin, but I was like, hey, Justin, man, I want to do this right, right? And he did all my marketing, and he gave me tips, and he told me advice, and I took every suggestion that he gave me, and a couple other people that are multimillionaires. You know what I mean? I'm not here to be rich. I'm just here to help the next person in need, right? Someone that needs a job, and if I can't give them full time, that's okay, but I can give them a couple days to make sure they got food, they got clothes, they got this to get what they need. You know what I mean? The only person that I'm trying to be today is the best version of me. And whatever that is, I don't know. I just know it is giving back, loving, and helping others, you know? And sometimes people take advantage of that, you know what I mean? But one thing I don't let that get me is get me down, you know what I mean? And like you were saying, is that I don't have many friends. And I'm okay with that today, right? Because people try to oppress people by certain stuff. Oh, look at this. I got this. I got this. I ain't got shit. I got a 2017 Chevy Malibu. I got a 2012 Chevy Silverado with the full, but you know what? That's mine. I own that. The bank don't own that. Tim owns that. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't say that. You know, at 30 years old, I had never had a license in my life. I got a license today. I own a business. And this isn't to put myself down or anything, but who would imagine a crackhead, a dopehead, and an alcoholic like myself, a gangbanger, an ex person that been to prison, a multi-convicted felon, would have got custody of a 14-year-old kid and own a business that is striving beyond his wildest dreams that I never imagined it would take off the way it took off. I'm doing more in my business in the last 4 months that people's been doing in years. If you look up on me on Google right now, I got 21 reviews, 5 stars, and people that's been in business 5 years don't even have 12. That's not because of me. That's something greater than me. You know what I mean? But what I do is I give out that, some, I don't know how to pronounce that word, but I give out that vibe, right? I'm honest. I tell people the truth. I don't try to tell them a dream. Hey, listen, I can come in here and I can clean this, but I can't promise you that I'm gonna get that oil stain off. I got something that might work for it, but I can't guarantee it. And a lot of people go in there and say, "Oh, I can get it off. I can get it off," and then they go in there and they can't get it off, and they look bad. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to do today is be honest. That's the hardest thing that I struggled with my whole life was honesty. And today that's what I try to do is be honest and be the best version of me. You know what I
Man, that's
mean?
all that matters. That's all that matters, man. And congratulations on assigning those adoption papers, man, because you're taking care of somebody that you won't have to. You weren't made to do it, but you stepped up to the plate. So definitely that's a blessing and congratulations for that. And congratulations for being vulnerable and caring for people and absolutely just showing your kindness and showing the authenticity of what type person you are. And that's amazing, man. And then you have your business, and yet you still don't see yourself having to go get a 2022, 2023 vehicle because you show the material things don't mean everything to you, and what you do have, you value, and that's what's the most important. Value the things that you do have, and that's too many people are worrying about what they don't have. Oh, I need to figure out how to get this. I need to figure out, and I think we all fall into that trap sometimes of trying to
And
figure out what can I get and all this type of. And there's nothing wrong with trying to get to a different level in your life and trying to grow because that's the whole purpose of life to me. It's trying to grow to a better point and hopefully growing towards God is your main point. But growing to a different point is should be the journey. But being grateful for what you have, that takes you to a whole different level.
it does. And what's crazy is like I make Sundays like a family day because I do work a lot, and I also work a second job right now until my business takes off more. You know what I mean? You talked about that before. Don't quit your 9 to 5. You know what I mean? And I serve and bartend a couple nights a week, so like I'm always gone. And I remember a few years back, and a gentleman sent me to this place because I was going through a tough spot in my life where I just wanted to say screw everything. And I remember walking into this place, and at this time I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? But it was a nursing home where people were about to die, and they call it like hospice or something like that. And I remember walking in, and this this old man, he was 86 years old, and I went and spoke to him, and he had this precious smile. He was happy, and I was just like, what? Like, you about to go, but you're smiling. And I was like, what did you get out of this life? He's like, if I could tell you one thing to do in this life, it will be love. And I was like, what do you mean by that? We always put time into everything else. He's like, one thing we don't put time into is love. He's like, why you think marriages don't last? He's like, why you think relationships don't last? Because they think they watch this fairy tale that, oh, everything's perfect. He's like, one thing is not perfect. He's gonna go through a lot of things in life. He's like, but just love. He's like, if you just love, he's like, you will be the most peaceful and happiest man alive. He's give the closest ones to you and around you love. And he's like, you won't regret it. And he took his last breath and he passed away. And that was a message. That's when I turned and I said, you know what? God is love. God is everything or God is nothing, right? So what I have to do is I have to love. Even though I don't want to, I do it because I know that it's going to make me feel better inside. I'm gonna feel good about myself, and I'm gonna build self-esteem, and I'm able to give that back out to the universe. And what I've ever give out to the universe, I'm gonna get back 10 times more. So just
That's
know.
amazing, man. I definitely appreciate you for being on, and I'm pretty sure everybody else do as well. And I was gonna ask you for the last advice, but man, I don't think you can beat that one, man. That last one right there, it went hard, man. A lot of people don't think of that. Let me tell you that. And I definitely appreciate you. And if somebody want to reach out and speak to you, how can they get in touch with you?
I got Facebook. It's Tim Caron. It's Tim. Last name Caron. I have Facebook. I have. You can find me on Google, All Star Pressure Washer in Naples. You can go on my webpage and send me a message either way. You know what I mean. But a lot of people keep in contact with me on Facebook.
Sounds amazing. Like I said, thank you and thank y'all for joining. And y'all can like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Hey, thanks for watching again, Skip Nods. Go check out my guy. Hey,